Hey everybody, Victor here, and let's go ahead and begin with my latest attempt to not study tax law. It's a nation guide for Najd. Najd in EU4 starts off as a 3-province minor in the middle of the Arabian Peninsula, meaning it consists of some sand, some more sand, and lastly, more sand. To make matters worse, sand you can't really develop much at all. You lack feudalism, and this third province here has a bunch of autonomy. And yeah, to make it worse, you're going to only be getting more sand. So, great, right? You're going to be behind in terms of development, tech, economy, manpower, and force limit for pretty much the entire early game. The good news here, though, is this guide is a no RNG guide, meaning as long as your skill level is high enough, this should be no problem. You don't need to keep restarting. Now, let's go ahead and begin. First things first, though, I wanted to point out, this is being recorded the day Origins is released, meaning I'm going to go into how to do this both with and without Origins. You can do it, same strategy for both of them. It's just Origins is going to be a little different because of the estate privileges as well as some alliance networks. But let's go ahead and begin with the estates. Now, if you were in Leviathan, you've seen this before. Pretty much just copy what you've done before and you'll be fine. If you are in Origins, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First things first, you have a new estate privilege called Religious Diplomats. Now, you'll get this, and basically what it means is you get a plus 25 opinion modifier of Brethren of Faith with people of the same religion as you. So you'll get that plus 25 doubled that you will normally get. This is a great thing to have for two reasons. One, obviously, if they like you more, they'll be more likely to ally you and royal marry you. The other reason, however, is they're less likely to join a coalition because then you have to go through even more to make their opinion negative. So it's a nice privilege to grant, especially since it doesn't cost you anything. There are a couple of new ones, though, I wanted to cover because they're new and might as well cover them. The first is about these scholars here, and if you are playing Najd or any Sunni nation, definitely keep an eye on these. They're a good thing to have. The first one here says you will no longer cost any admin power. All of these cost 50 admin power to invite these scholars. If you grant this, all of them will not require 50, so that's just a gone requirement. The other requirements will remain, however, so here the Ottomans still have to like you and you have to be allied, a subject, or an overlord to the Ottomans. If you grant this, however, this other one, grant local residence to scholar, you don't need to do that either. And you will pick whichever one it is, and it will recycle every 20 years. So if you know you're going to be in a massive war, but you can't have the Rasids like you because they're never going to like you, you can grant this and just ignore that entirely, get the shock damage received bonus, or reduction, and you'll be fine. Which is a great thing to have available if you need it, but be aware, it's influence with no loyalty, so don't take this early, otherwise you're not going to be able to revoke anything. The last one here is religious culture. This will give you a bunch of bonuses if they're the same religion and culture as your culture group or an accepted culture. The problem here is, yeah, it costs crown land, but it also is 30 influence with 10 loyalty, which is the exact same as down here. Don't grant this early, otherwise you're not going to be revoking anything. Not for a very, very, very long time. So, you can grant this whenever you want, just be aware you're pretty much locking yourself in here and you might want to revoke things for absolutism. Now, as far as the emirs are concerned, there is a new one, a new privilege. You can only see it once you have a subject, so unfortunately I can't show you that now, but basically it makes it so the diplomatic annexation cost goes down by 5% in exchange for all your subjects having 15% more liberty desire, and any diplomatic annexation you do does not reduce your diplomatic reputation, meaning it is significantly easier to combine that with strong duchies and use vassal expansion than it ever was before, making it a lot easier to expand now because you're reconquering cores, so less aggressive expansion, and you're rapidly integrating these guys. The only thing you're going to remain is the malice of opinion every time you integrate a vassal with other vassals. The last thing I want to talk about with privileges comes to the Crown Land, and this is one of the only frustrating things I've found about Origins, save for a couple of bugs that are hopefully getting fixed, and this is one of them. Now, if you can tell, I'm at 0% Crown Land. Absolute zero. Now, if you're in Leviathan, you'll be at negative 0.1 or something like that, so you'll need to develop. But here, when I seize Crown Land, it should be 5. Unfortunately, they decided to change things and make it 4.999. Why they did this, I really don't know. It's like they decided to fix the starting crown land for people and make it 30, but then turn around and foobarred this instead. So, yeah, just be aware that this is going on, so you still have to develop things to make it in round 5. As far as your diet missions, take whatever it is you want, but you'll usually get one of these, the have a port in, and this will give you a free claim right here or right here, meaning you're able to go after Hassa early. And going after Hassa early is very important. As I said, I'm going to go ahead and throw down a dev of something somewhere. Don't throw it in your 3rd province here due to the autonomy, but that's that. And that's the estates, and you're done. Now, as far as your army, make both your ruler and your heir into generals. It doesn't really matter which one you stick on here because you're not using them, and you're even turning off the maintenance. You'll turn it on later, but you're not turning it on now. It's not worth it. Next, your merchants, make this guy into a hostile trader, and this guy here, you're going to send over a merchant to collect trade, just so you have something in Hormuz. Are you likely to collect anything there early? Absolutely not, but it's literally better than 0, so you might as well send somebody over there. And that's your merchants. As far as your rivals, you're going to rival Medina, Hassa, and then leave the other one open, or you can rival Dawasir. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and rival Dawasir because, again, it really doesn't matter. Usually you'll have Shamar on there because they will rival you. If they are not on there, yeah, fine. It doesn't really matter. Lastly, we're going to talk about alliances. This is one of the areas where Origins and Leviathan diverge. Now, if you look at the alliance networks, you're going to find absolutely nobody is willing to ally you. This is true whether in Leviathan or Origins. However, if you go to the royal marriage screen, yeah, a lot of people are willing to royal marry you. This is again true in either one. Here's the difference. When you royal marry the Ottomans, go ahead and do that, you only need to get them to about 100 opinion. Now you will get the plus 25 for same religion, another plus 25 if you're in Origins, etc. until you're at 80. Meaning you only need 20. And you can get that incredibly easy by going over here, finding the one person you really don't care about because you're never going to fight them, and you're going to scornfully insult them. Meaning, next month, you will have an alliance with the Ottomans. If you were in Leviathan, you are going to have to do the exact same thing and then improve relations with the Ottomans for probably about a year or so to make sure they like you enough to then ally you. But there's really little other difference. The other difference, however, is not with the Ottomans, it's with Ajam. As you can tell, Ajam is still willing to royal marry you, even in Origins. If you are in Leviathan, go ahead and do it. Royal marry them and ally them, because the Timurids will attack Ajam maybe 1 out of 10 times. And I've done this run about 50 times to test this. I did about 30 in Leviathan, and then about 25-ish in Origins, just to make sure. They rarely attack Ajam in Leviathan. In Origins, it's happened every single time. Meaning if you ally Ajam, you are now in a defensive war. It is not worth it to be in that defensive war. Instead, let them attack Ajam, let Ajam try to fight it off. If the Timurid leader dies, then all of their vassals will drop out of the fight, meaning Timurids will likely lose, and then you can ally Ajam. When Timurids is no longer a threat. And if they win, then they're going to be trampled by their vassals anyway, and then you can ally Ajam and take them on again, or do whatever you want to do. The other people you want to usually go for, however, are Yemen and Hormuz. Hormuz, go ahead and royal marry. Yemen, wait. You are going to have to wait first to get your diplomats back, but more importantly, Yemen has a nasty habit of allying people up here. People that you have to attack. You're going to end up attacking Hassa first, and then these two here soon. And that's simply you're waiting to see if they do that. If they do, you can ally Aden instead, or Hadramaut, somebody down here, instead of Yemen. Yemen is a good option for the sole reason that they have infantry combat ability, meaning they punch above their weight class, and it's a great thing to have if you need somebody to punch above their weight class. And lastly, to point out, the reason you are rivaling Medina is quite simply, they start off guaranteed by the Mamluks, meaning you can't attack them. But the AI is pretty stupid, meaning they'll figure you're a threat, you rivaled them, they need to find their own allies, namely your other rivals. Namely, they're going to ally Shamar or Dawasir. They are less than 50 war score, meaning you can full annex them and take them out completely without co-belligerating them, so Mamluks can't stop you. It just depends on who they ally. and you'll be able to take them out. And this is a very smart thing to do because they have a fort. And if you take out that fort, that is one less fort you need to siege out to take care of the Mamluks. Lastly, be aware, Mamluks can't automatically inherit them into Hijaz by mission and by event. So, if you have that option, do not delay unless you absolutely have to. But with that, it's time to unpause. So I'm going to wait for my diplomat to come back, and the first one I'm going to send over to start getting a spy network down on Hassa. The reason you are focusing on Hassa immediately, as fast as possible, is because you lack feudalism. They have it. The moment you take their land, you can embrace it for about 20 ducats. Meaning, if you can do this fast enough, you're golden. You're not behind anymore. If you're in Origins or in Leviathan, you're still behind by 50%. You'll be instantly caught up and be able to start taking tech and keeping up with everybody around you, so you will no longer be behind in tech. So, at this point, I need to wait for my other diplomats to come back, and I'm going to see what Yemen did. It looks like they rivaled Medina, which is annoying, but I will find another person for Medina to hopefully ally. And I'm going to go ahead and royal marry, and then also scornfully insult one of the people down here that they do not like. This guy will be perfectly fine. And there we go, I can ally the Ottomans. As far as Hormuz, they should be there themselves, and there we go. And Yemen, you might also have to scornfully insult somebody, but it looks like that's not going to happen. I forgot that it's Medina, I rivaled them. That's my bad. So I'm going to go ahead and royal marry and then ally Aden instead. This is why I have an extra slot, just in case Yemen does their thing. And with that, it's time to pause the recording, because I'm waiting for my other spy network to get done with Hassa. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to go through, I am then going to turn around and get spy networks down on Shamar, the two provinces I can see there, the one on Dawasir, and then the one on Medina. I can't really get anything on Hijaz because by the time I'm attacking the Mamluks, Hijaz probably isn't going to be around. So I will see you guys in just a few minutes. And welcome back. So I have my claim down and I'm ready to go, and as you can see, Hormuz has attacked Hassa. This happens maybe about a quarter of the time. If they do, great. If they do not, what you are going to do is you're going to declare war and you're going to promise Hormuz land, and yes, you will even give them these two provinces. It doesn't matter. If you can get away with it, you will take these two and then vassalize this one if Hormuz doesn't mind. Other than that, just give them the provinces. In this case, it's even better. The reason why is you're going to declare, and if you can take them out and vassalize the remainder, you are then in a defensive war and you can call in the Ottomans to come down and beat up Hormuz. Now, since they're over 50% war score, you can't full annex them. But you can shove them out and take the Hormuz island here, meaning you will suddenly have a non-sand province, which is a lot better to develop and keep yourself on tech. So this is a great thing to have happen. But still, you have to win, and for now, you declare. Now, as you can see, they are allied to Baluchistan. They're going to have to fight through Hormuz to get to me. However, I will point out that they do not always ally Baluchistan. They ally Baluchistan about 99% of the time, but then there is also that 1% of the time where they will ally Ajam. If they end up allying Ajam, wait for the Timurids to attack Ajam. It will happen. Just wait. If you are waiting too long, you can always attack somebody else like Dawasir, who in this case also allied Medina, and Orman. And if that's the case, you can usually call in Hormuz to take out Orman. But with that, I'm going to have to pause the recording again because I have to fight this. So I will see you guys in just a minute. Oh, and just to point out, this is their capital. So have 9 troops. That's why you hire the free company. Do not go above 9. While it might be tempting in case of disease outbreaks, it's not worth it because you're already losing 2. If you go up to 1 more, you'll be losing 4 a month, and you're risking bankruptcy just to not have to deal with waiting for a troop to get replenished. So just go with 9, you'll be fine. See you soon. And welcome back. So, war is effectively over. Now, I'm not actually going to vassalize them, though it was definitely an option, and the reason why is because, well, they're getting jumped on all sides. Meaning that while I would be able to call in the Ottomans, it'd be against Musasha, Dawasir, and Hormuz. And they'd have to go through a fort to get to me, meaning by the time that happens, I'm probably going to be full sieged, so it's not really worth it. On top of that, I want to save Dawasir so I can take out Medina. As such, not going to do that. I'm just going to annex what I can, take as much money as I can. While I can go over and try to occupy Baluchistan to try and get some money, and if you have to knock them out, definitely take as much money and war reps as you can. In this case, I'm just going to peace out so I don't have to bother and move on and find my next target, which in this case is probably going to be Dawasir or might be Shamar. In this case, I'm not quite certain because I'm almost there with the spy network. I might just run in and take Shamar before anything happens. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. But as you can tell, I'm able to embrace feudalism. Now, the way this works is they has to be part of a state. But if you are paused at the time of the peace deal, you're able to embrace. If I unpause for even a day, then I will not be able to do this. But since I just took it, it's treating it as if it is a state at the moment. So I can go ahead and embrace, and I'm done, and now I can take tech as normal. I don't have to worry about anything. At this point, go ahead and core everything up, break down this fort, because while it is useful, you cannot afford it in any stretch of the imagination. So just tear it down, so at least you have your economy handled. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Oh, lastly, when you're in this war, make sure you continue your spy network. It'll help you siege down this fort, and if you have to go into Baluchistan, they have a fort there and a capital there, both in mountains, which is a nightmare. So make sure you're spying on them too, unless you find a situation like mine where everybody else is going to go take care of Baluchistan for you. And with that, time to move on. So I will see you guys once I'm done taking out Shamar. See you then. And welcome back. So obviously the war is over. I took out Shamar. And now I'm ready to go after Dawasir. Now Hormuz, because they ended up losing over here, because their capital was sieged out, they ended up having to pay a lot of money. So they're not going to be useful for me. But Aden here will come in and they'll attack Dawasir from the south, so I can focus on Medina and then deal with Oman as soon as I can, because hopefully Hormuz won't give him any access. So I'm going to go ahead and take them on and hopefully eliminate them before the Mamluks is able to go ahead and diplo-vassalize them. And you might be able to get extra time doing this because sometimes Medina will go ahead and rival somebody that the Mamluks will ally, meaning they're not going to like them for that reason, which will buy you extra time. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this and wrap this up and then talk about what after you get through this initial rapid expansion you do. See you then. And just to point it out, because I realized I didn't say it, at this point, you should be able to get to Tech 4. They will be stuck on Tech 3, meaning even though you might look like you're going to be relatively even, this is massively not going to be an even fight. So this is one of the reasons why you go after Hassa early, because then you can just melt people like that. See you soon. And welcome back. So, war is a little bit more difficult than normal. I had to even buy down my war exhaustion, but it's over. As you can see, Hassa came back from the dead and took some land, but either way, that's still fine because I'll take this and vassalize the remainder, meaning I'll now have cores to reconquer and I can get the guy up here. Either way, it doesn't really matter, because now I'm in a defensive war against these guys, meaning I can call my people in, including the Ottomans, who will come down and take care of business for me, meaning this is now done expanding too, so even better. Now, I'm not going to go through every single step, but basically, sorry about that, somebody knocked on my door. Basically, once you are done and you're able to push into Yemen, you're going to take them out if necessary, vassalize them or annex them and then release them as vassal to get their cores back. But once you've done expanding into the south of the Arabian Peninsula, if the Ottomans are ready, in other words, they've taken out Karaman and these other guys up here, you're able to go after the Mamluks. If they haven't done that yet, keep expanding into the Horn of Africa. This is a good place to expand into because there's nobody really major down here that's a problem, except for Adal, who is the same strength as you, Ethiopia, who is close to it, and Ajuran, who's going to be a little bit stronger. At this point, by the time you're at the rest of this, you'll be able to take them on one at a time. And with that, you'll have a strong power base down here to then push into all of this up here, or into the Mamluks without the Ottomans if necessary. meaning that you will now have somebody up here that you can use to fund your operations, because through the favor system, you can get the money that you need. Because, yeah, money is going to be a perpetual problem for you until about the 1500s. No matter what, you're going to have money problems. And then start expanding down and get ready to dev push in other places. So you are aware the places that you go to dev push, you have Iraq, you have the Delta, you have India right here and down here, and then you have south of the Horn of Africa. Down here there are farmlands, and then there's gold mines here to pay for whatever it is you need to do. And you'll be able to reach there approximately 1500 if you gun for it. But with that, you should be perfectly fine to expand as Najd, to get whatever achievements you want done, to have whatever it is you're going for accomplished. And hopefully that helps. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I will be making more of it. If you want to see a particular country or a mechanic discussed, let me know in a comment below. Be more than happy to make a video about it. But thank y'all for watching. I hope y'all have a wonderful day.